P.S. This book is adorable. Hi guys, what's up? It's Julie the Bibliophile, and today I am here to do a quick review of P.S. I Like You by Kasie West. In the continued saga of adorable love stories that start with the words P.S., we now have P.S. I Love You, the rom-com, P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, and now P.S. I Like You by Kasie West. So before I begin, a quick spoiler-free review. This book is about our protagonist, Lily Abbott. She's a junior in high school, I believe. And she's in chemistry class, and she's really bored in chemistry class. She doesn't like it, so she usually writes lyrics in her notebook because she's a songwriter. One day, her teacher catches her, he takes away her notebook, says she has to turn in notes about the lesson, and she still is bored in chemistry class, so she starts writing her song lyrics on the desk. And the next day she comes into chemistry and the song lyrics are finished. So she starts exchanging song lyrics and eventually little notes and then full letters left under the desk with this pen pal who's in the other period chemistry class, but it's anonymous. They don't know who each other are. Eventually she finds out it's a guy and they start to fall for each other through these letters, and there's this whole mystery of who's the guy writing the letters, as well as the romance and the chick lit of we're falling for each other through these letters. First of all, I want to give this book 5 stars. I think it was really, really adorable and also really well crafted, with the perfect balance of adorable and also deep, with deeper, more tragic, real stuff behind the characters, which is my favorite thing in a chick lit read, that it's this super adorable story that's just like sugary sweet like cotton candy, but it's also got these little bits to it that just make your heart leap, not because, you know, just they're kissing, but also because you find out the tragic backstory of one of the two love interests, and it ends up being really good. This book was more heavy on the adorable as opposed to angst. Some chiclets and contemporaries are more heavy on the angst, more equally balanced with the angst and adorable. This one was really just all about the fluff, which I really needed to help continue to break my reading slump of 4 years, which I'm really trying to break this year. And I think P.S. I Like You really helped with that, because right before I read P.S. I Like You, I read the new Kingdom Keepers book, gobbled that up in under a week, but that's not unusual for a Kingdom Keepers book. That is unusual for any other book in the past 4 years. P.S. I Like You, I had been reading it a few months ago, and I got about 80 pages in, and for a lot of factors, like other books I wanted to read, and also like with the semester getting heavy, I just stopped reading it. But when I got back from school for the summer, I picked it up and decided I wanted to read a little bit of this, because I was on Goodreads looking through all these different chick lit reads and wanting to read them, and I decided, okay, why don't I read one of the actual ones that I have, even though I don't really want to read it. Next thing I know, it's 24 hours later, I'm sitting in bed, finishing the book. It was nuts. So I highly recommend this book. It's if you're looking for a really quick summer read or a really quick read for any time period, it's really great for that. It's great for a summer read, a beach read, a plane ride read, a car ride read if you can read in the car. It's just a quick read to gobble up really quickly, because you will read it really quickly, I suspect, because you're going to want to keep reading to find out who writes the letters, and then eventually you're going to want them to find out about each other. So like I said, if you're looking for a quick, fluffy, cotton candy, sugary sweet, adorable book with also a lot of realness to the characters, buy this book, get it from your library. I don't care, read P.S. I Like You, because I highly recommend it for anybody who likes chick lit and romance and contemporary. On to the spoilery section of our review. I'm going to try to keep this a little bit shorter today because I read P.S. I Like You so fast and so sporadically. I do not have any notes to have an organized discussion about it, and I don't want to ramble too much and forget stuff. First of all, I want to talk about the roller coaster of this book, because I hated Cade so much, and when I was first reading the book, I accidentally flipped ahead and accidentally saw the line, "I can't believe Cade wrote the letters." And I was so mad. I think that's why I stopped reading the book initially, because I didn't want it to be Cade. because I'm so sick of romances and it's so hard to tell when it's gonna happen like that, where the romance is with the bad boy who redeems himself. And I thought that was gonna be the case here, and that Cade was just gonna continue to be an asshole, but he's like, I'm sorry, Lily, I really love you, and it was just gonna be a mess that I didn't want to deal with. So even after I found out it was Cade in the book, like reading it, I was mad because I didn't want it to be Cade. I wanted her to be with David or Lucas because I thought they were really cute together. But I knew also that she was gonna end up with Cade, judging by what I know from chick lit books. However, I couldn't stop reading because despite not wanting her to be with Cade, I still for some reason wanted Cade to find out that she was writing the letters. And I don't know why I wanted to see him find out about that, but it was just like I wasn't attached to a particular couple or to any feelings of it. I just wanted to know for the advancement of the plot, which was new for me. Then, when Cade came over to her house for Thanksgiving, I started to switch, because they started to talk more and kind of become close on their own without knowing about the letters, and we saw the softer side of Cade. We saw Cade interacting with her little brothers and how he's actually a really sweet guy. We saw them having conversations about Cade's life and his past that Lily already knew, but he didn't know that she knew because he didn't know that she wrote the letters. So she assumed. That's when I started really liking Cade and rooting for Cade and Lily. So I just kept reading then because now I wanted Cade to find out because I wanted them to be together. And I also knew at Thanksgiving, I figured it out before they said it, like, oh my god, the pie. Like, she told Cade in the letters about the pumpkin pie tradition, and now they're gonna have the pumpkin pie, and Cade's gonna know it's her. And I was waiting for that moment, but then she kicked Cade out, and he left before they had the pie. And I was screaming. I was so upset. We have this saga of really great scenes where she's going out on a date with Lucas, where she crushed on Lucas forever, and she goes out with Lucas, and then she realizes she doesn't want to be with Lucas. She wants to be with Cade. So Lily decides at some point she's gonna stop writing the letters. And she writes Cade this whole big note about Cade, it's me, Lily, and I can't keep writing you. But then because Cade had stopped writing. But then she sees that Cade is writing her again, and she's like, no, I have to keep writing him. So she can't let go of Cade, despite the fact that she knows she can't be with Cade because they hate each other, and he's an ass to her, and he's Isabel's ex-boyfriend, and she also feels bad because she realized that Isabel broke up with Cade because of her. And this was my hesitation now, because, like, I liked her and Cade together, but I didn't want Cade to come between her and Isabel. And I knew it was wrong for her to date Cade when Cade had dated Isabel, and I didn't want this whole mess that's really common in rom-coms and stuff for girls to give up their best friend for the guy, and I just hate that trope. But luckily, she talks to Isabel, and Isabel, we find out, is actually rooting for her and Cade. She said, I was jealous of you guys when we were dating. I've always thought you guys were perfect for each other. So now we have the all clear. You know, Cade is actually a nice guy, and Isabel is rooting for her and Cade, and we have the all clear to be with Cade. But then, in chemistry the next day, Lily sees that her teacher, Mr. Ortega, has taken the notes and he's caught onto her and Cade, and I was like, no, oh my god. And so then she sneaks into Mr. Ortega's classroom after hours with the help of Lily, because they are like the cutest best friends. And then the door opens and Cade comes in because he was coming to do the same thing, to try and steal the letter, and then they find out that it's each other, and they start dating, and he tells her that he knew it was her from the first time he visited her house because he heard the music playing, and now it's just adorable. It seems like it's happily ever after, like, oh my god, they're together. And then that bitch, whose name I can't remember, reads Lily's poem at the school pep rally that's about Cade and tells the whole school about Cade's past. So Cade runs away after this. Lily can't find him. She's looking everywhere for him. She's afraid they're broken up now. He's not answering her texts. And eventually she remembers the golf course where he took her before, when they would have their 3-hour truces, which was another thing that I liked, when they didn't know about each other, supposedly, and they would have their 3-hour truces to be civil to each other, where they would start to get close. And she goes to the golf course. She finds him there. She finds out his dad wrote him back, and his dad is not being open to him to starting a relationship again, really, so he's upset about that. but they make up and they were never really fighting to begin with. And then the last scene, we have them in her house writing the song because he says that the song that she wrote about him is really good and she should submit it to the competition. And, like, they're singing together, playing the guitar, because her siblings paid the money to get her a new guitar after her little brothers broke it, which I loved so much. I loved Lily's family dynamic in this book. I thought her family was so adorable. That moment where all her siblings hugged her because they all pulled their money to get her a new guitar was the sweetest freaking thing, and I loved it so much. And it's also one of my other favorite tropes where the boyfriend or girlfriend becomes a part of the protagonist's family, like the sort of found family thing. I love it. I just loved everything about this book. That's really all I can say. It was so freaking adorable. And I also have to say that I loved the bit where they get together and they're speaking in letters because they say letters are the way they communicate best. So when Kate is telling her that he likes her, he finishes it with, P.S. I really like you. And then the title ties in, and then it ends with, I love you, and I love you too. And then we have P.S. I like you, the book ending with, I love you. And I'm like, it was so cute. The other thing I found interesting that I can't believe I didn't realize until about like 10 pages from the end was that this book is basically a high school version of the musical She Loves Me or the rom-com You've Got Mail, which are the same story, but told through high schoolers writing notes to each other in chemistry class. And I didn't realize it until much later, and I should have realized it so soon until I read the part about Cade knowing it was her all along. I'm like, wait, that happens in She Loves Me, and then I was like, oh. I don't know if that was an intentional move by Kasie West, but it happened, and it's really cute, because I love that musical, so, I mean, I'm okay with it. So, 5 stars for P.S. I Like You by Kasie West. I've already added all of Kasie West's other books to my Goodreads because I love this kind of chick lit book. Really fast to read, really cute, just makes you feel like all sweet and happy inside because it's sweet as cotton candy. Alright, I will see you guys on Sunday, and as for book talk, I will see you next Friday with that. Until then, bye-bye, happy reading.